Hello fellow YouTubers, welcome to this video. Okay, so I had a radical thought the other day, and I'm going to share it with you guys out there. As the cat scratches the scratching post. So, in modern WWE, there is no X-Pac heat. Because I'm tired of hearing people say this. So I'm going to break down what I mean really quickly. Hopefully this video doesn't drag too long. So, in the past, especially when X-Pac was a thing, the ratings were really up, okay? And there was actually a ratings war going on, okay? So the idea of X-Pac heat, a heat that made people so mad they wanted to switch channels, meant you're such a bad performer, they'd rather see something better on the other show. So, for one, the modern issue with the equivalent is there is no competition. So, say you're upset with, I don't know, Roman Reigns. You're going to turn the channel to see what? Football? So, there is no equivalent there. Two, part of the problem is that when the ratings were really up, and they were, you figure that meant there were a lot of casual fans who eventually tuned out anyway. So, in modern WWE, most of the people who still watch are not casual fans. God, maybe 10-15% are casual fans. The rest are hardcore fans who have been watching for a long-ass time. If you don't believe me, feel free to listen to the crowd during literally any show when, I don't know, Roman Reigns comes out, or when The Miz comes out at certain points, or Kevin Owens, or anybody who gets the wrong reaction. Point being, it's more of a hardcore fan base, and there is no X-Pac heat because you guys don't hate the characters that much. Before I made the video, I had to start looking up things about X-Pac heat. So, for instance, one of the things people said was that you have to hate the actual performer and not the character. Then one of the big examples was John Cena, who got X-Pac heat. Doesn't make any sense. The person who seems to fit more into that description then would be The Miz. Because The Miz is just naturally a very hard person to like. Whether it's his baby face, his attitude, his upbringing, where he came from in general. So, if that is the definition of X-Pac heat, then Cena doesn't have it. And if Cena doesn't have it, then I highly doubt the fans hate Roman Reigns either. They hate the character. They don't even hate the character so much as they hate the fact he got forced, which was another thing I'd read about. At which point, a lot of places were saying, oh, if a character is forced, you end up hating the character, and it kind of separates it and creates a different definition. And at which point, for one, X-Pac never got forced, so the definition doesn't even line up with the namesake, which makes no sense at all. And two, Roman Reigns has gotten a push, but Seth Rollins did as well. So the actual definition of push doesn't line up. It just doesn't. Because, especially with Roman Reigns as the example, there's just no way you can line it up to explain why Roman Reigns is hated because of this. Roman Reigns does not have X-Pac heat. As a matter of fact, I have a quite contradictory opinion here, and think the only way to get heat in modern WWE is to go in the X-Pac heat. The category of X-Pac heat. If you don't believe me, okay, think about the best heels of the last 3 years. Starting from SummerSlam 2014, I want to say that was the year where, it was the year Daniel Bryan got screwed, correct? Or was that the year after? So that'd be WrestleMania 30, so starting 4 years ago, okay, when Daniel Bryan got screwed over, number one heel, Triple H, okay, why is Triple H number one heel? Is it because he's doing mean things, or because the fans genuinely don't like him? It's that one. Because immediately afterwards, once the NXT thing started really taking off, and they stopped pushing so hard on the we are heels thing, the fans turned on Triple H and pretty much have sided with him since. So, that's X-Pac heat. Right? Right? Next, we have Sheamus. who is generally throughout his entire career had a very hard time getting over with the more hardcore fan base. For whatever reason, don't know, don't really care. Other heels that come to mind, Rusev. And for that, my argument is Lana ended up getting really over, and once the fans realized Rusev could work, it kinda stopped. So, point being, okay, I've heard the argument that modern WWE fans will cheer anybody who works well. And my counter-argument to that is there is no argument, because that is exactly what they do, who they think works well. So, for instance, you look at any character right now, and you should, in theory, be able to tell if they are a good worker based on how they get cheered. In theory. So, for instance, Sin Cara doesn't get much of a reaction. Not a good worker. Seth Rollins, really good worker, gets a really good reaction. That's it. So there is no X-Pac heat. Because the X-Pac heat is the only heat that exists anymore. So anytime you hear somebody say, oh, this person has X-Pac heat, you really need to tell them that's the only heat they have. It's the only heat that exists anymore. And in 2017, without X-Pac heat, there are no heels. And without any heels, there are no stories. Without any stories, we are literally just watching amateur wrestling. We're watching amateur wrestling combined with dance. That's what we are watching. So thank you, X-Pac. Thank you, Roman Reigns. Thank you, Triple H. You make wrestling worth watching. Peace out.